Go back. Attention is the behavioral and cognitive process of selectivity, concentrating on a discrete aspect of information, whether deemed subjective or objective, while ignoring other perceivable information. It is, I love this part, it is a state of arousal. So I saw some brothers that sat on the front row, young brothers, and I observed their reaction to what was going on, the message that was coming from the roster. I could tell that the intention of the speaker was right because the attention of the people in the audience was they were being attentive. And how I know they were being attentive because I saw them being aroused. Now, arousal in the dictionary, I asked my granddaughter to look it up for me this morning because, you know, we tend to think of arousal as in the sexual nature.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She aroused me. Made you feel real excited.
Right.
Well, in this room, you will become aroused. And the definition that she gave me was awakening.
Awaken.
So you are the object, the intent of the speaker of the Nation of Islam. The sole purpose is to see us awaken from a sleep that has been put on us by our enemy. And that's why you see that the attendance is not what it is, because we've been put to sleep and need to be awakened. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me for one moment. What is communication? See, Brother Willie, we went over to a school, a gym, and it was a school, I know it wasn't a school, excuse me, it wasn't a gym. Jesse Owens playground, but we were in the gym area. They had music, they had rappers. But Brother Willie was privileged to hold a class, so to speak, seminar for some young people, young teenagers, anywhere from probably 6 years old to 18. And they did, and I know some of you have done this probably before, where you whisper a message into someone's ear. So Brother Willie, the room is filled. Brother Willie whispers a message which took approximately about, not a minute, but say he gave the person 6 words. I assume it was, judging by what I saw, say it was 6 words. By the time that message was passed around that room, the young lady who whispered in my ear, and this is what I heard. Oh. I said, excuse me? Say it again. Oh. This is what I heard. So I didn't even get in one iota of the message that Brother Willie gave to the first person, because once it moved around that room, it got a part of communication is volume. Brother Lawrence, I know you hear me, and I want to just give him a hand because in the communication class, I got to hear, because this actually came from a question that I asked, and after he elaborated, he said to me, and I got aroused. Y'all remember that word aroused?
Right.
I got aroused. I was like, excuse me, Brother Lawrence, I need to know something. And when he answered me, he said 2 words. He said attention and intention. And we just read the definition of attention, right? Everybody got it?
Yes.
Look at the definition of intention. I'm going to get back to Brother Will in a minute. Intention. Aim, purpose, an idea you plan to carry out. So we don't have no hidden agenda when you come to the Nation of Islam. You come in here, we have intentions for you. We have aims. We have a purpose. That's our whole mission. So when we go into these seminars and we're invited to all of these, how are we going to get black people straight? I tell Brother Willie every time, I said, we had another meeting where if they just joined the Nation of Islam, they will have all of their answers met. You don't have to go nowhere else. You need not look for another. He has come. You don't have to reinvent how to save black people. We do that all day long.
Right.
Is that right, believers?
Yes, ma'am.
We do that all day long, so you don't have to, we enjoy being around our people, but we have the answers. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers, because I'm still studying how to save black people. I saw a woman, the man dropped off at the bus stop this morning. I was with my grandchildren. I said, y'all think I would go back and see what's going on? Yeah, I just saw the look on her face when he dropped off. You know how somebody dropped you off and you almost rolled out the car? It wasn't how, I'm gonna be back, I hope everything's all right. No, he just rolled out on her. And I gave her a smile, but to want to know and care for what is going on with her. So in going into this communication and properly understanding how to communicate with one another, as we did in our class on Wednesday, asked the question, so what effect does proper communication have? It's receiving information, giving information, and doing what? I want to see if anybody remember. It starts with a D. Duplicate. Duplicate. So when I give the message, the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to our people, I expect to see another MGT come up out of it. To duplicate the message of God and make them into myself, who is becoming the God that I am.
That's right.
So I'm not gonna, I know I only had 10 minutes, so I'm gonna read this last portion. Brothers and sisters, I'll read some of it because I want to say it verbatim, because it came out of my mind verbatim like this. But a part of it was, suppose that you went to a good doctor, not any doctor. We got to preface this doctor thing, because you just go to the doctor, you might be going to a healer.
Which doctor?
So you think you're going to get healed, you're going to get healed. And this has happened, correct? I'm not just saying this. So you go to a good doctor, and that doctor, he tells you, brother or sister, you got 2 weeks to live. And you go 2 weeks, some of us gonna say, whatever God say, but I don't believe you, but he does give you this news. He said, but you know what? He says to you, if you come back next week, I am going to do some research, and I guarantee you, if you come back next week, that I'm going to have something that's going to cure that thing that is trying to kill you. Well, I got some news for you. This world is trying to kill you.
Yes, ma'am.
The Nation of Islam has the healing.
Come on.
Take the medicine that's going to come from this rostrum today, because we got a powerhouse. I don't want to just call the brother a powerhouse. We have someone who has studied these teachings, has studied them to show himself a worker, needing not to be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. We have another sister, other than myself, that's going to come before you, who is studying the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, striving to be a woman of God.
Come on.
So don't think lightly of what is coming from this rostrum, because we need your what? Attention. Because we certainly have the right intention. So when you hear this and you take this medicine today, just like that good doctor told you, come back next week.
That's right.
Come again another week. And before you know it, brothers and sisters, you're going to have some of these things, and they are promised to us. It's called money, luxury, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. So thank you all, brothers and sisters, for listening to the word. And I thank you all so much for being present, being in that attention. Put your cell phones down, children.
That's right.
Because I told my granddaughter when I took an hour in the car with them yesterday, explaining to them why Islam is their only hope.
Only hope.
Why Islam is the reason why I make sure you're at the mosque. Why Islam is going to make your dreams come true. I spent that time with them because to sacrifice your whole being for those children. I told her, I said, that's why I tell you, don't bring no phone, baby. Because what you hear from this rostrum, now you asking me questions. Muffin, I got another question. Muffin, I got another question.
Another one.
Her hands stayed up in the air. Well, how is the white man that old? How is it that the white man only has that? How was he made? I told her, that's why you got to come up here and listen.
Right.
You can't come in here and play no more. Time out for playing.
Oh.
The enemy is, after the Bible says he seeks to devour you, coming to and fro, up and down you. I don't want to get fired in this. That's all I got to say about that.
Preach.
So I'm going to bring up this soldier. Let me tell you, I told her, I said, you give me words that I'll live the rest of my life with.
That's so true.
One of them was she said that Islam is your reparations.
That's
Come
right.
on.
I said, my God. She
Right.
didn't have to say no more.
Come on.
Right.
She didn't
That's
have to
it.
give another lecture.
Yes.
Right.
That was it.
Great.
So that is what came out of our sister. So you know what? She got some more to tell us.
Come on.
So we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let us bring up our MGT, Muslim Girl in Training, Sister Malika. Give her a round of applause.
All praises be to Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah,
That's right.
who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, and I further bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger and exalted Christ. And I further bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the man of God in our midst.
Come
And
on.
how do we know that?
Come on.
As Sister Lenora just said, when your communication is effective, you are able to duplicate.
Yes.
And we all know that when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad departed, that the nation of Islam
Same.
failed.
All right.
But because of this man and his ability to hear the word and communicate the word, we have you see a duplication of what the messenger said. And each and every one of us that you see in here, when you see a duplication, us attempting to reflect the majesty of the word of God because of the labor of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So it is in the name of these three mighty men of God that I greet the believing family in the ancient greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam,
And
ma'am.
that simply means peace be unto you.
Yes.
That's right.
Peace be unto you. And I just want to thank my sister Lenora because I'm telling you, the Spirit of God is so powerful. Because I was reflecting on what I was going to share today, and I was unsure if it was the appropriate message. But every time it never fails, God always bears witness to what's right and what's true through one another. Because innately, we all hold the Spirit of God within us.
Right.
And so the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, science and nature bears witness to truth. So we can say, oh, God told me this was the right thing to do, right? We can believe that, but you only know if that's true is if science and nature bears witness to their word. And so her talk, what she gave us, bore witness to what it is that I'm going to share with you today. And I'm not going to be before you long. Our dear sister, we talked about and us wanting to be reflections of God, and that's why we seek help. No matter where we go, when we go to our parents and we're asking for assistance, because we want to be better. Inherently in us, we're seeking help and assistance. We want something to guide us through life and to make this journey better because we come here not knowing. We come here not knowing. And so our dear sister talked about the promise of God, which is luxury, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. And when we hear that, it makes us feel great, right?
Yes.
It makes us feel good. Who doesn't want luxury, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks?
Right.
Come on.
And especially in this world,
I will.
because this is a world that promotes the reality of luxury, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. And in reality, it has always kept us as black people, as indigenous people, as original people outside of that promise. They never promised us luxury, money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. In reality, they've done everything that they can to deny us that access. So God came and gave us a promise, and that promise was to have an inheritance. And yesterday I was communicating with my sisters, and we talked about what is inheritance.
Come on.
What is an inheritance? Traditionally, we think inheritance is equivalent to the promise that God gave us. Luxury, money, friendships, and all walks of life. But it's our understanding of what luxury, money, friendships, and all walks of life is that we have to, and very important, but one of the barriers to communication is having a misunderstood word.
Yes,
And
yes.
if there's a misunderstood word, then the action, the duplication of that communication will be off.
That's right.
I can think you can go to the store and get me a red drink. Right, you know how we talk. Right? And you go to the store and pick me up a red drink. Now, I'm from Houston. We don't use that language. I don't know what you mean. Or go get me a cold drink, right? I come in with some water. Because I'm from Houston. We don't speak that language. When you know who God is, when you know who you are, when you know who the enemy is, and when you know the time. These four knowledges is what can grant us unshakable inner peace. So when you come into the fold, into the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it is to give us access to all the things that we can obtain from this world. But the ultimate gift of these teachings is to give us unshakable inner peace. Good homes. What is a good home? We can think of, I want to live uptown. I want to live in St. Charles, or I want one of those big houses, right?
Right, the garden
I want a
district.
nice home with marble floors and stainless steel countertops, and my children all the way on the other side. They need a playroom, or they not staying at my house. I want a backyard, a nice driveway. I want a pool and gardens wherein rivers flow. And the Quran promises us that. But a good home is a righteous home.
Come on.
A good home is a home filled with principles. A home that's built and established on the word of God. Right? That is a good home. So God came to promise us and to give us those things. So the ultimate point, brothers and sisters, is that we have come, these teachers can give us a new mind.
Yes,
right.
And when you have a new mind, words mean different things. Words mean different things. This world gives us a certain mind, and we interpret communication based on the mind of the enemy. And there's something that I will never forget. Our dear brother Rashad came and he said, we've been given the mind of the enemy. So our ability to interpret, we like to question God, right? And God says we can question him, but when we hear certain things, we question and we ask questions and we doubt. But the doubt is coming from the mind of the enemy, because we've never had any other mind but the mind of the enemy.
That's right.
So our ability to interpret information in our current state is based on the mind of the enemy. But God came to give us a brand new mind, a brand new understanding,
Right.
which will enable us to have effective communication where we can be aroused and put proper attention where attention needs to be. And how do we know? Because we will be made into a whole new human being, a duplicate of the reality of God. God came to make us into himself.
Yeah, that's right.
Not just to change our lives and give us access to material things. No, he came to make us into himself. To make us into himself. And that is the beauty of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So brothers and sisters, open your heart, open your mind, be receptive. Be receptive to see what God has for you. And even if today is not your day,
Come on.
know that if your heart is open, that
Come
you will
on.
receive something that will truly elevate you,
Yes.
evolve you, and get you one step closer to being who God intended you
Yes.
to be, which is a reflection of himself.
And a duplicate.
So brothers and sisters, I pray
All
I'm going to leave you as I came before you in the nation's greeting words of peace, of Assalamu alaikum.
Wow.
Each and every one of you. And at this time, we're in for a fantastic treat.
Yes.
I absolutely love every time we have the opportunity to hear from this brother,
Yes,
because
me too.
he's so intelligent.
Yes.
And intelligent beyond of intelligent,
Come
but
on.
intelligent because he understands the word of God.
Come on.
The word of God that's rooted in the mind of God. And every time he comes before us, he's redefining our perception
Come on.
of what it is that we think that we know.
Come on now.
So I'm always made better because of his scholarship,
Yes.
his study,
That is so
and
true.
his heart, his spirit.
That's right.
So brothers and sisters, at this time, I welcome
Praise
to
be
the
to
Rajam,
Allah.
our dear brother, a student in the ministry class here in Miles number 46, our brother, Brother Lawrence Muhammad.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Praise be to Allah. Let's give our sisters a round of applause.
Allahu Akbar.
Stand, let's give our brothers a round of applause.
Praise be to
Praise
Allah.
be to Allah. Boy, I'm throwing some bombs up here. They got a lot of stuff up here.
Warmed it up for you.
I see that. Warm it up, Ken. Y'all don't know that. That's that old school hip hop. Praise be to Allah. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. And we thank him for Moses and the Torah of the Old Testament. We thank him for Jesus and the gospel. And we thank him for Muhammad and the Holy Quran. And we who are in the wilderness of North America can never thank Allah enough for his intervention in our affairs. In the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi, to whom all praise is due forever. We thank him for raising up in our midst, divine leader, teacher, and guide, the exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we can never thank them both enough for leading in our midst, our big brother, our champion, our redeemer, warner,
Yes.
and everything else you can think of in this day and time. And I speak of none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan Muhammad. And in their names, I'd like to greet you with greeting words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, sir.
I want to thank you for being here today. Thank you for allowing me to come before you. I would like to thank our student local representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan here in the city of New Orleans, Student Minister Willie Muhammad, for giving me the opportunity to come before the people
Yes,
of
sir.
God. This is not a lightweight thing to do, so you all are going to have to bear with me.
Go ahead.
And I ask and I pray that Allah would help me and guide me through what it is that we would like to talk about
Yes,
today.
sir.
It took a while to come up with what we would like to talk about today. And I had in my mind what I wanted to talk about. But you know, sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out like that.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
The way that we want things
Yes.
to go. And praying on it, meditating on it, you know, and just like, all right, whatever you want, I'll do that. So I hope and I pray that what we say today will touch each and every one of us. And it's a very, it's a serious topic. It's a very serious topic, but it's also a spiritual topic. And so I heard my sisters talking about communication.
Yes, sir.
Come on. So my intention is to
Come
get it
on.
over to you
Go
very well.
ahead.
And that someone's lives for the better. And I hope and pray that you will give us your attention
Yes, sir.
as we go about this. So, the title, when Brother Minister asked me, you know, about for the flyer, I didn't even have a title. So I went back and I kind of thought it a little while. So I sent him something, and I had on the title, Healing the Wounds to Become a Better Servant of God. And I was like, okay, we'll work with that. And then as we started getting into it, I was like, okay, we can use that, but it's something else in it that I see. And I hope that we would go with this portion also in addition to. So it's not only healing the wounds to become a better servant of God, but it's healing the wounds, the process of becoming whole again to become a better servant of God. Because all of us would like to serve God.
Yes, sir.
I believe that all of us would like to serve God in whichever way we desire to serve
Yes,
Him
sir.
or acquainted with Him.
Yes, sir, come on.
But a lot of times, in that desire to want to be a servant of God, there are things that get in the way of us being that servant. And in this particular instance on today, we would like to talk about the wounds that prevent us from being that servant of God. Not necessarily, physical wounds, even though that's a part of it, but we like to deal with the internal wounds. But not just focus on the wounds, but how to come out of it.
Right.
And hopefully by the end of this, we'll be up, beat, and smiling and ready to go and change our lives for the better and be that servant that we all
Yes, sir.
are destined to be.
Yes, sir.
So, in dealing with this particular subject, there's a lot of different ways to approach it. So, I'm just going to approach it like this and be straightforward with it. And I hope that you all will follow me. So now, we as a people have faced and still are facing many challenges in our lives. With these challenges or trial, it seems to take away a little part of us each time we go through that trial. Sometimes these challenges can be so severe that we just break down and we never fully recover.
Watch out.
They can slowly rob us of the spirit of life. We then go through life defeated, disappointed, and broken. This affects our relationships with our friends and family in negative ways. After a while, we may feel as though no one understands us.
That's right.
And we say, they don't really see where I'm coming from. They don't know what I'm talking about. They can't see it from my perspective. So now as we try to communicate and talk to one another, it never seems to click, and it always seems that we are at odds with each other. So it leads to constant arguments and fighting, and eventually the parting of the ways between you and someone that you really care about. We want to talk about healing these wounds and starting the process of becoming whole again, so that we can become a better servant of God. So I looked up this word wound. Wound is an injury usually involving division of tissue or rupture of the mucous membrane due to external violence or some mechanical agency rather than disease. But it also means an injury or hurt to feelings, sensibilities, or reputation. So this means that anything that injures our feelings, our sensibilities, or our reputation is a danger and becomes the instrument by which wounds are inflicted. The wounds that we receive on the outside, these physical wounds, can be healed with some ointment and time. While the internal wounds of man don't heal this way. In some cases, the physical wounds that we receive, for instance, being in an abusive relationship, leaves internal or invisible wounds that we carry around for a lifetime. And that takes God Himself in order to heal those invisible wounds. So we're going to get into those and the healing a little bit later. But what are we suffering from right now at this moment? Black people are in pain.
Yes, yes.
Now, I just want to preface this. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching at the temple one Sunday, and he was teaching hard. And he came back to his teacher, Master Farad Muhammad, and Master Farad Muhammad asked him, how was the meeting today? How did it go? And he said, oh, it went great, it was wonderful. There wasn't a dry eye in the place.
Everybody was crying.
And Master Farad Muhammad looked at him very sternly. And he said, brother, don't make my people cry. I came to wipe away their tears.
My God.
So, probably my favorite song in the entire world
Wipe away the tears.
is a song by Bishop Paul S. Martin.
Oh yeah, your tears.
Come on.
It's called Your Tears.
I sing it for you. No.
And if you really listen to that song, that's probably the most awesome song ever made. I'm talking about rap, hip-hop, R&B, gospel, whatever. Because that song speaks to our heart. That song speaks to the inner human being. It touches the pain that we are going through, but at the same time, he reminds us that these tears are only temporary. Oh, man.
Go ahead,
All
Paul.
right.
Come on,
So
go
I
ahead.
just wanted to
Go ahead,
preface that.
Go ahead, sing a
We're
little
going to
bit.
touch on some things
Go ahead.
that if you experience these things in your life, or you may be familiar with some of these things in your life, you might shed a tear.
Come on.
But know that that tear is only temporary. It's just a release of the pain.
All right, go
Well,
ahead.
I don't want to get into the whole song. But
Alright.
that's my song, man.
Me
I
too,
love
I
that
love
song.
it
I
too.
listen to it all day.
Wow.
So look, black people are in pain. Black people are suffering. The whole of humanity is suffering. But as of now, I want to address our pain.
Come on.
Our hurt. Because we, out of everyone on the planet, we are suffering the most. Even when it comes to our brothers and sisters all over the world, in Africa, in the Caribbean, all of these different places, there's no other people that suffers like black people in America suffer.
That's right.
Now, some people try to debate that, but that's really not debatable.
Come
Just look at it simply from a, just look at it and say, whoa, okay, let's compare these people, these people, these people.
Right.
The one thing, you can go with one thing. I could ask black people in America, what is your name?
Uh-huh.
And we don't even know our name. All right, let's keep going.
Yes, sir.
We have suffered physical and psychological abuse of slavery for over 400 years. And this trauma is still with us today. We have suffered every imaginable tragedy that a human being could ever experience. We are deprived of the basic right of human dignity. So being so mistreated during slavery, we still treat one another like our former slave masters treated us on the plantation.
Say that.
We had passed down this mental trauma and anguish throughout the generations, and we have not yet been healed. With all that we have suffered, I believe that the worst of all of our ill treatment was the breakup of the family unit.
Come on.
Come on.
So why is the family unit so important? See, family is the cornerstone of civilization.
Right.
And when the family is destroyed, the very fabric of all that makes a people who they are is destroyed. So when the natural relationship of the male and the female is destroyed, when the two are no longer looked at as human beings, They will interact with each other on an animalistic level.
Yes.
The natural love and affection for one another is no longer there. The sense of responsibility of the male for the female is not present. The black male was turned into a stud with no feelings or compassion for the black woman. We're going down there.
Yes.
Eventually, he started to look at her through the eyes of the slave master. She became an object of pleasure and was not looked upon as an intelligent creature from God. The black woman has always been a spiritual woman. She has a natural inclination to love and to be loved. That was taken away from her during slavery. Not being able to show love towards her man, and most importantly, not being able to receive love, leaves a hole in the heart.
Come on.
It leaves a void and wound that never heals. She then becomes a cold woman
Listen.
who has to fend for herself because she has never known the love and protection of a real man. So when she does get into a relationship, she winds up choosing someone that does not really love her or respect her. Despite how difficult it may be to go through the process of becoming whole again, it is a process that we must go through. So I know we don't like to relive pain. We don't like to go back to those instances in our lives. But it is beneficial for us that we do. If we do not confront the past, it will maintain power over us. Even though we may have thought that we have conquered it, there will be circumstances that arise in our life that will cause it to rear its ugly head again. This can cause us to go into a deep downward spiral and not even know why. Now, when you talk to people and you start explaining the condition of black people in America, and you go to slavery, oh Lord, there you go. They're going to slavery. See? But that's like going to the doctor,
Right.
or you getting sick, and the only thing you taking is some type of medicine that deals with your symptoms.
Right.
But you're not dealing with the cause.
Come on.
Right.
You know? So we just keep taking Tylenol. I got a fever. I have a fever. I have a fever. But you never go to figure out and find out why you have a fever. So when we talk about the condition of black people, you cannot talk about our condition based on something from yesterday.
Come on.
Where you see, he didn't do this or
Right.
she didn't do that. You have to pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. But what if you don't have no boots?
That's right.
What if you had boots and they were stolen?
Right.
See, so we have to get down to the root cause
Come on.
of what's happening with us. See, that's a failure of being afraid to confront. Because when you start talking about the horrors of slavery, most of our people can't take it.
That's right.
So we just keep reliving that stuff over and over again. So look, people tell us get over it. That happened hundreds of years ago.
Right, that's when you see.
But what took place with us during that time has a direct effect on our lives today.
Right.
So we can never forget what happened to us. You don't go around telling Jews when it comes to Hanukkah, you don't tell them to forget the Holocaust.
Better not.
Right? I used to always wonder, every time Easter came, and I thought Easter had to do with the resurrection of Jesus, but on television they always showed the Ten Commandments. See that? You ever thought about that, huh?
That's right.
Easter is supposed to be about the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. But yet every Easter they show the Ten Commandments and Moses.
That's right.
And I would always figure that out. Trying to figure that out. But that's dealing with the Jews and they're coming up out of bondage, out of Egypt. And every year they put that before the world so the world never forgets the pain that they went through. What do you and I as a people do in order to not forget what happened to us? So one Jew told Minister Farrakhan, we don't forget and we don't forgive. And the minister said, that's a hell of a mindset. Huh? He said, we don't forgive and we don't forget. He said, well, what if God did that to you? For all of the things that we do against him. If God did not forgive and he didn't forget. So, we in America, we just have to confront this ugly horror of slavery in order that we may affect the healing process. So we are not allowed to have anything of our own. We weren't allowed to have proper male-female relationships. We weren't allowed to have proper family relationships. All of this has a direct bearing on our lives today. We enter into a relationship with one another thinking that we are in love. And we might be. Our significant other may do something that angers us. And the next thing you know, there's a fight in the house. And you're moving on to the next one. So we can't have meaningful and lasting relationships. The sisters are hurting because they want a man. But there seems to be no man around for her. Or the one that she does have is such a weak excuse for a man that it's as if there's no man there at all. He uses her for sexual exploits and gratification while having no regard for her feelings. He impregnates her with a baby and leaves her to raise the baby on her own. She is scarred and makes up in her mind that there are no good men in the world and that all men are dogs. So she's out here in the streets, not the MGT.
Right.
So she's out here in the streets, a loose woman, a hurt woman, a broken woman. She's alone while she pretends to be all right. You can just, I'm telling you, man, if you really look and study this thing, you can see our sisters are hurting, even though they don't want you to know that they are hurting. So while we look at her and we talk about how beautiful she is, how fine she is on the outside, on the inside, she is a walking contradiction. She is sad and wounded, putting on a brave face just to make it from day to day. Now, we all right?
Yes, sir.
It's a little quiet in here. That's all right. My intention is to get this over, and I hope you still are giving me your attention. All right. Some sisters have been abused and molested when they were younger, and is with them until this day. Even though the person that you are with is not the one that abused you, that wound has never healed. So when he touches you in a certain way,
Yes.
it's like the abuser touching you.
That's it.
So the house gets cold and you don't talk to each other. The brothers don't know how to handle you and your situation, so you start growing apart from one another. Our women are hurting, brothers, and have not sought the proper treatment for the wounds that they carry around on a daily basis. The black woman is targeted from a young girl by the enemy and is made vulnerable and insecure. So the man's job is to make the woman secure. This world works to castrate the man while leaving the woman open to the ravages of the society. So look, there's a study, and I mentioned this study before, by the Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Inequality, and it's called Girlhood Interrupted. It's talking about black girls from ages 5 to 14. Quote, from adults of various racial, ethnic, and educational backgrounds felt that black girls need less nurturing, less protection, and need to be supported and comforted less than white girls their age. End quote. So they look at you as tough, you're already grown, you're already strong, you can handle it all, and they look at their own little girls as weak and vulnerable and need this care. So when our sisters, over 65,000 black women are missing, and ain't nobody saying nothing. But let little Susie come up missing. And the whole world is out in the woods searching for her. Because they don't look at us the same. See, that's one of the problems that we have when it comes to us as a people and unifying as a people. We still believe that our 400-year-old enemy is going to change. We really do believe that. And so we want freedom, justice, and equality from someone who does not even give it to his own people. But we're still holding out that one string of hope. Well, how long are we going to wait? How long are we going to keep doing the same thing, coming up with the same answer? If you want change, change it.
Right.
All right, y'all didn't catch that. Maybe I should have came with a rah-rah subject. But we getting there.
Yes, sir.
And I want us to really get this. So look, this view has contributed to the mistreatment of black girls and women in this society. Yet with all of that, she is able to take care of herself and her children and sometimes these so-called men as well. She does it all. She does all of this while she suffers silently, holding back the tears. Now, here's the shocker. Not only black women are hurting, but black men are hurting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, the way we act right now, that's not coming from someone who feels great, who really thinks good about themselves. What we are experiencing today from our black men is coming from a place of hurt. So some of these same experiences of abuse and molestation has taken place with our boys. This society has been structured on the destruction of the black man and works on a daily basis to destroy him. He is supposed to and expected to be a man. But he has never met a real man. He doesn't know what a real woman is or how to maintain her. So in his insecurity, he goes from this one to that one, having babies with no responsibility. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Yes,
Isn't that what they used to do to us on the plantation?
yes.
So you see how slavery has a direct effect on
Come
us
on,
today?
teach.
He fills the jails and the prisons, the corners and the courthouses, because he doesn't have a skill to provide for himself or his family. So he takes advantage of the drug game. And that game is rigged against you. The government of America and their wicked scientists have and are in the laboratories working on chemicals to reduce the testosterone and raise the estrogen level in the men, thus emasculating the men and feminizing them. Did you just see a few days ago that they are now recruiting people to take part in a test for marijuana? They will pay you up to $3,000 a month to sit home and smoke marijuana. Wow.
Good God.
Come on, man. Anytime white folks want to give you something for free and pay you to do it,
Come on.
come on, we should be a little skeptical about that, don't you think?
Yes.
But we don't even give it a second thought. Whoa, they
Where's
pay.
that?
And all I gotta do is sit home and smoke?
Give me the number.
Man, what's up? Let's do it. Y'all remember the syphilis thing that went down with us?
Yes.
The Tuskegee experiment?
experiment.
But we don't even give it a second thought because we don't know our enemy, so therefore we trust our
Come
enemy.
on.
There's no other people on the planet like us.
Nobody.
They try to bring all of this stuff to our people in Africa, and they're like, whoa, hold on, man.
Yes.
They don't even want to get shots over there. What you got? Well, you giving us a shot. We don't need no shots
Come
over
on
here.
now.
But of course, you know, they worked it in where now they sticking our people with these, supposed to be for malaria,
Yes, sir. You will be bold.
but they're sterilizing them.
Yes,
Lord,
sir.
have mercy.
See? Come on, man. So that's
Down.
what's happening to us right now. So you have to get Dr. Wesley's book on this assault against the black man. You have to get that book because there's things in there that are documented. That if we were to really understand what's going on, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that you cannot fathom the depths of Satan.
Yes, sir.
We think we know Satan, and we think we know how to deal with him. But we don't know Satan.
No, sir.
So in the Bible, Pharaoh saw the children of Israel multiplying.
Right.
Verse that Pharaoh used. He said, let us deal wisely with them.
Lord, have mercy.
What do you mean, wisely? See, wisely means cunning,
Yes.
under the radar,
Come on.
secretly. You manipulating and moving people and they don't understand and know that they are being moved and manipulated. They think everything is fine. So even after the children of Israel were let go by Pharaoh, they still had an inclination towards
Come
him.
on.
Moses, you got us out here in this
Right.
wilderness. Man,
Go
we
back to Pharaoh.
we need some food. We did that. It's rough out here, man. We need to go back to
That's
Pharaoh.
right.
Now there were those who went back to Pharaoh. And if you read that book carefully, you'll find out that the ones who went back to Pharaoh, they had to get a mark on them. And the mark was a pierced ear.
Uh-huh. That's right.
They had to get an earring.
That's two of them.
Listen,
They had to get two piercings
Right, that's right.
to show that they were the property of Pharaoh.
Ooh, look at that today.
I'm just saying.
Come on.
All right. We did a sip of water. Make it time. Oh my God, we don't have time to fly. I ain't even got to have it. So look, the brothers, we suffer in silence as well. He is wounded and he's crying out for help. The violence and the crime that you see committed by our young people is a cry for help.
Yes, sir.
They are telling us that they are hurting and they are looking for relief, but don't know where to find it. So as a whole, black people are wounded. We are shot down in the streets like animals and no one pays the price for it. We don't get freedom, we don't get justice, we don't get equality. So we are wounded and we need an ointment to heal our wounds. So there's an old spiritual that goes, there is a balm in Gilead
Yes, sir.
to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is taken from the Bible in the book of Jeremiah 8:22, where it reads, is there a balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is there no healing for the wounds of my people? So remember, a wound is an injury, it's a hurt, it's to feelings or sensibilities or reputation. The word sensibilities are mental responsiveness, quickness, and acuteness of apprehension or feeling. So in other words, we are mentally and emotionally hurt. These wounds trigger our emotions in a way that is not normal, causing us to be reactionary instead of reasoning. We respond to one another based on emotions and not from taking in the situation, understanding the situation, and acting according to our understanding of the situation. Reputation is also mentioned in the definition. Some of us, our ego is wrapped up in our reputation. How people view us is more important than how we view ourselves. We then live our life according to a false narrative of what other people think of me. So a lot of us, we dress a certain way, not because it really satisfies me, because I want to show them.
That's right.
You catch sisters sometimes, the minister says, sisters, you know what you're doing. He said, when you get dressed, you put on them tight jeans or whatever you put on, and he said, before you walk out, you turn around and look in the mirror and say, yeah.
I got it.
See, that's not for you. That's for them. That's for other people. That's the whole Instagram. That's what Instagram is about. Instagram is about showing other people, attracting other people to us and what they think. And then you have people who literally have breakdowns and they get negative feedback on social media. That's crazy. Literally. All right, we all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so look. Don't you want to be yourself? Don't you want to live your own life and not someone else's? Don't you want to be made whole again? So look, in the Bible, we have to ask, there's a question that asks about, do you want to be healed? So in the book of John, the 5th chapter, verses 1 through 8, there's a man, I'm going to read it to you. This particular section is called A Man Healed at the Pool of Bethesda. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first, after the stirring of the water, was made well of whatever disease he had. Now, a certain man was there who had an infirmity. An infirmity is a physical weakness or ailment. Also, an infirmity is a moral weakness or failing. This man had been there for, listen, 38 years. Did you catch that? 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he already had been in that condition a long time, he said to him, this is what Jesus asked him, quote, "Do you want to be made well?" End quote. The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. But while I am coming, another steps down before me." Meaning somebody jumped in front of him every time he tried to get in the pool. Jesus said to him, "Rise up, take your bed and walk." And immediately the man was made well, took up his bed and walked. There's a lot in there. This man had been sitting around for 38 years. Making excuses because he was comfortable in his situation. Now, if I'm sick and I want to be healed, and I know that the angel is going to come down at a certain time to stir the water, you're not getting in front of me. I'm blocking everybody because I'm getting in this water. So this man has been allowing other people to get in front of him for 38 years. But Jesus asked him the question, do you want to be made well? See, nobody can heal us if we don't want to be healed. Because some people use our infirmities as a crutch to get sympathy from other people. So, I'm not feeling well today.
Come on.
Oh, these old bones, you know. And we expect, I know how you feel, you need me to bring you something. See, that's what we want. And we want that attention, man. Because we are afraid that if I'm made well, I will lose attention now. So I have to keep wallowing in my infirmity, wallowing in my disease, wallowing in my hurt, so that I can gain the attention from other people. So look, the first thing Jesus asked the man was, do you want to be made well? So that if he didn't want to get well, he would have still been in that condition regardless of what Jesus said. You have to really want it. We have to really want it. Along with wanting it, we must be willing to go through the process that it takes in order to be healed. Healing is a participatory exercise. We like to, God's gonna heal me. And that's true. To a degree. But what are you going to do in helping God to heal you? I'm sick. I'm suffering from all of these diseases. So God says, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you something so that you can help yourself. How do you live? Bam. See, we're expecting to just lay around and all of a sudden these magical beings are going to come out of the sky and heal us. But God can't heal us physically if we're still eating the same poison that's making us sick.
Teach.
See, that's not rational.
That's right.
All right. We want others to do all the work while we reap the benefits. But Jesus told a man, rise, take up your bed and walk. Jesus didn't pick his bed
Go
up for
ahead.
him.
That's
No.
right.
He had to pick his own bed up
That's right.
and then walk. So the sick man had to do something. One of the names of God is Al-Mu'min, meaning the restorer. Black people are God's people. And when we come to understand our true relationship with Him, we will find that the power and abilities that are within Him are also within us. So with the help of Allah God, you have the power to heal yourself. Say that again.
Yes, sir.
You and I have the power and the ability to heal
My God.
ourselves. God gives us the knowledge to do so, but it is up to us to do it.
That's right.
See, when it's like a, well, no, I'm not going to say that word. I was going to say a partnership, but it's really not a partnership. You know, but God, He's like, look, I created you. I gave you everything that you need. Call on me when you need me, but I'm not going to just do it for you.
Saying air.
Right? Air.
Yeah,
There we
air.
go. Yeah, it's an air. So call me when you need me. If it get difficult, call me. I'm going to help you, but I'm just not going to do it for you. Because if God does it for us, then we don't know how to struggle
That's right.
and come through.
Yes, sir.
Brother Willie always talks about this analogy of the butterfly. So there's this man that's walking and he sees this cocoon. And he sees this little trying to be butterfly, trying to squeeze and get out of it. And it's moving around and it's squirming and doing all types of things trying to get out of this cocoon.
You gotta help him.
And the man, he's not thinking evil thoughts. He wants to help the butterfly get out of the cocoon. So what he does is he sees it's a little tight. So he takes a little knife and he just cuts a little slit to make it a little bit easier for the butterfly to get out. But when he does that, the butterfly falls out and never spreads its wings to fly, and it dies right there. See? And he was relaying this story to someone, and they told him the reason that the butterfly died. He said the butterfly needs that struggle, because as it's squeezing itself out of the cocoon, it's getting rid of all of the garbage and all of that stuff that weighs its wings down.
God.
It's scraping all that crust off and leaving it in the cocoon.
Come on.
So once he gets to the end of that process, his wings are not held down and he can
Go
fly.
ahead.
So if God does everything for you and I, we will die.
Yes,
We
sir.
won't know how to fly.
That's right.
So that's why in the Holy Quran, Allah says struggle is ordained for the human being.
Change the condition.
And He brings us through trials, at least, severe trial, at least once in every year.
Yes.
All right. So look, the wounds that we are fighting are buried deep inside our subconscious mind. In order to begin the process of healing, we must make the first step and connect to our Creator. We do this through prayer and reading. Reading the right words stimulates the mind. The right words can redirect our thinking. You don't have to leave your life up to fate.
Come on.
You have the ability to change yourself and change your condition.
Come on.
You have has the ability to recreate your life into whatever you want it to be. Now, all true healing starts in the mind. All right?
Yes, sir.
It is the way we think that determines the life that we live. Change your thinking and you will change your life. Now, this isn't some hocus pocus type thing. It takes work and it takes dedication. There will be good days, there will be bad days. There are some wounds that we will be able to get over rather easily, and there are some that will require us to get some assistance from someone. Those wounds, such as rape, abuse, molestation, they don't just disappear.
That's right.
These lay a burden on the mind, causing us to make wrong decisions in life. We continue to choose the wrong man or the wrong woman in our lives. We keep making the same mistakes over and over again, and we wonder why. We keep suffering from making the wrong choices, which stems from poor judgment caused by these internal incidents and in these wounds. So the mind records everything that has ever happened to us. It records these incidents as pictures and uses these pictures to help us make decisions by comparing the current situation with the past situation. All right?
Yes, sir.
If the past experience ended with you being hurt in some way, the mind sends a signal to not go that route. Or if we are consumed with pain and negative emotions, where this becomes our dominant thought, this lower part of us will keep attracting the same people into our lives because they are overpowering and dominating. The human being always gravitates to power, whether it is good or bad. Back in the days, before I became saved,
Sanctified, feel
yeah. I used to always wonder, man, how the cute girls always went for the dope dealer. I be like, this dude out here doing this thing, about to get locked up, about to get killed or whatever, but yet all the girls flocking to him. See, it's not necessary that he was good, but he had a certain amount of authority and power.
That's right.
And in him, she saw some kind of security.
That's right.
Because you know, we're catching the bus.
He's
Well, boy,
right.
rolling up in the Corvette.
That's right.
And I'm like, man, this something got to give. But that's what it is. We are naturally inclined towards that which is powerful and dominant. So since the man, listen at this, sister. Since the man that may have beat you up was more dominant than you, the mind seeks security in that type of person. You all right? And you are open now to keep choosing abusive men. Did you catch that?
Yes.
All right. So look. The police officer, this one blew my mind. The police officer has become so dominant in the black man's mind that he goes out and buys a police car and drives around town thinking he's a gangster. Y'all didn't catch that.
Oh, yes, sir. The gangster police.
I used to be back, especially in the 90s, you see these brothers rolling around in these Crown Vics.
That's right.
And you know they were police cars, then they went to the auction and bought these old police cars that they still got the spotlights on them.
Right.
And I'm like, bruh, you just got out of jail.
Right.
That's right.
And you went and bought the very same car that they brought you to jail in.
That's right.
Lord, have mercy.
What's going on in the mind?
Lord.
See, we have to really think about these things. So look, these brothers, you know, here we are driving the same car that the police took you to jail in. It's not based on rational thinking.
Right.
It's based strictly on reaction. It's based on emotion. And sound decisions are never based on emotions. We've gotten so used to it that we think it's normal. We don't have the strength to fight back, so we succumb to the weight of it and suffer mental anguish. Now, when you see the word or hear the word mental anguish or mental illness, when you speak that around black people, it's like you curse them out. Because when you start talking mental illness among us, that's taboo. It's starting to change now. It's starting to come out in the open a little bit more. But you can't talk about mental illness around black people. Have you ever seen a brother call a sister crazy? You can't tell no black woman you crazy. She'll go off on you in a heartbeat.
That's right.
Because that's a stigma, man. That's a reaction. And so, but we have to be able to deal with these things. So now look, mental illness, we have been given the term mental illness in a very disrespectful kind of way.
Right.
That's
See?
yeah. Call me crazy.
To mean that you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's how we understand mental illness.
Right.
But simply put, mental illness is when you and I have experienced such trauma, disappointments, and wounds in our life that it affects our ability to think critically and make proper decisions. That's all mental illness is. These traumas mostly occurred when we were young. And the wounds, the majority of them, we don't even know that they exist. Because they happen during moments of unconsciousness. So, how can we get rid of what you don't even know is there? The only thing you and I see is how we react to other people, and then we wonder, why did I act like that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We just snapped on somebody.
Yes, sir.
Quick.
Uh,
And then later on, like, damn, why did I do that? See? So in cases like that, there are people trained to spot these invisible wounds
yes, sir.
and help you to get rid of them so that you can be yourself. Minister Farrakhan calls them spiritual physicians. It doesn't mean that you are crazy. You are actually very smart and intelligent if you can recognize that you need help and seek it out.
Right.
Well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan found something for us. And he was referring to a technology that will help us with our mental health. It is a tool that will help you and I to get rid of the mental scars that we have been carrying around for all these years. It is a tool that helps to lift the mental burden, causing us to think clearer and act according to our nature, which is the nature of God Himself. So you are aided by another person in the strictest of confidence to help you to heal yourself and to improve your condition. And when the mind is unburdened, we are now able to think and be like our Father God. You are a little God.
Yes, sir.
Did you catch that?
Yes, sir.
You are a little God, but you just don't know it yet. The mind has to be unburdened so the brain can think as it should without any restraints. So the process to becoming whole begins with the renewal of the mind. So the scripture says, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. See? So, I can bear witness that what Minister Farrakhan has given to us, along with the powerful teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, has transformed and is transforming my life.
Yes, sir.
So we are guided by God's servant in our midst who will not lead us into temptation.
Right.
This type of guidance you won't get in this world. This type of guidance comes from God himself through his servant.
Yes, sir.
So why should we pay attention to God's servant? It is because through him the mystery of God is revealed. Allah guides his servant, who in turn guides the people. So he, the messenger, gives the people the knowledge of God and themselves. He points them in the direction of healing, reconciliation, and atonement. He exposes them to their true selves and shows them the power that is lying dormant within themselves. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes in Message to the Black Man on page 27, if they will only read and listen to the simplest of truths of which I write and speak, have three essentials in it: power, light, and life. So this process starts with you being honest with you. Come on. We all right?
Yes, sir.
So you'll notice, I really do like these self-improvement type of reflections. Because Minister Farrakhan said you should always give to the people when you need yourself. See? So we are not saying what we're saying from a standpoint of, I know, I have it, you gotta get it. Like they used to do us, and teachers used to do us in school. I got my degree, you gotta get yours. Right. Teachers used to say that. That's crazy.
Right.
But as I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm looking at it myself. I'm like, oh, okay. And then you can work on that or work on this. You see? And by doing that, we are all in the same classroom together. I've just been given the task of coming up to the front of the class and talking.
Right.
But I'm still in the class.
That's right.
So we didn't fall down from heaven.
That's right.
I don't know if anybody here fell down from heaven. But we all came up out of hell. We all came up out of the same situations. And I love to hear the believers' stories. Brother Willie does this little series called My Testimony. And I love to hear the believers' journey on how they came into the nation. And you will be amazed because we are around each other all the time, but we really don't know each other.
Yeah, so true.
You may be at work with people all the time, but really don't know them. What their struggle was, where they came from, what they had to go through. And once you start learning the history of a person, now you can appreciate them more. You know, I'm going to say this quickly. My father and I, man, as I was growing up, you've heard me say this before, we didn't get along at all. At all. But something took place. I heard something. I heard a word. And I just decided to go and confront him, face him, talk about it. Get what was on my heart off. Because I was carrying around this stuff with me all this time. And so I just went with him and talked, man. as we were talking, I'm just like going in. And he's just listening. I said, man, this is 30-something years, I was 30-something years old at the time. I said, man, I'm 30-something years old, man, you ain't never told me you love me. Never, not once. In 30-something years. And I'm going off, and this, that, and the other, and I'm just, man, he's just sitting there looking, man, and he just taking it in. And after I finished, he said, well, son, I thought I showed you that I love you. He said, because I went to work every morning, I put food on the table, I put clothes on your back. He said, that was my way of showing you that I loved you. He said, my mother never told me that she loved me. He said, so I was only giving you what was given to me. And that kind of shut me up. Had to go viral. And then Dr. Ali introduced us to raw milk. And I'm excited, man. I found this stuff, man. I found something good. So I go home and I'm telling my dad, man, look, you gotta drink this, man. This is some real straight from the cow stuff, man. This ain't that stuff you get in the store. And he like, yeah, I know about that. You know, he said, I was raised on a plantation. My father was born on a plantation. I didn't even know this. See, we think slavery is so far away. My father's 75 years old, born on the plantation. His father was a sharecropper. They got kicked off the plantation. I found out where I get my fiery nature from. But the whole family got kicked off the white man's plantation because my grandfather wouldn't put up with the BS. And he went after the plantation owner and told him, you can take all of this and shove it up your you know what and all of that. And so they got kicked off the plantation. But I'm baffled because here this is my father born on a plantation. So when you and I think of plantations, we think hundreds of years ago. I'm talking about one generation removed. So we have to now start really getting and learning people, just people in our own families, learning their history, and then we'll have a greater appreciation for one another. There's nothing better, man, especially back in the day, taking long road trips with the believers.
Yes.
When we used to all go to Savior's Day.
Yes.
Before everybody started catching the plane.
Right.
And we'll all rent 15 passenger
Go
vans.
ahead now, teach.
And we're on the highway.
Yeah.
And it's a 12 to 13 hour drive. And you're talking to your brother and your sister. And you're learning things about them you never knew. Now you have a greater appreciation for them now. So I'm just saying.
Yes, sir.
So look at this. I'm going to hurry up and get through this because we don't have a whole lot of time. So look. Minister Farrakhan said, I found something for you. He gave us that technology along with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to help us with our minds. So look, the process once again starts with you and I being honest with ourselves. You must be able to confront the things of self that are preventing you from living the life that you want. You have to evaluate and take inventory of the things that are good and not so good in your life. Keep the good and get rid of the not so good. This process of becoming whole again is described in the study guides that Minister Farrakhan has given to us. He uses the term resurrection. The dictionary defines resurrection as the act of rising from the dead. We are dealing with mental and spiritual resurrection. So the minister writes, quote, "This speech," meaning self-improvement, "this speech in my judgment formally ushers in that which is the launching pad of a worldwide movement. Each study session is designed on the guidance of Allah to produce self-examination, self-analysis, self-correction, and to quicken in each of us the self-accusing spirit. For it is only when we are awakened morally that we have to face, confront the self-accusing spirit which leads to our resurrection." That's a key point. Remember I said we have to be able to confront the things of our past, confront those wounds. See, until we do that, we won't be resurrected. See, that leads to resurrection. Confronting or facing is not resurrection. It is a process that leads us to become resurrected, to become whole, to become healed. So we can't get there unless we face it.
Yes, sir.
We can't get well until we go to the doctor and say, "Man, I'm not well." Resurrection is that process. Listen to what it says. Resurrection is that process that begins with the self-accusing spirit and does not end until we become one in perfect harmony or peace with Allah and His creation. He continues, "If we desire to stay alive spiritually, we must never steal the voice of Allah God within." You know that voice. If we're about to do something we don't have no business doing, and then the voice be like, "Yeah, I wouldn't do that if I was you." And then we say, "Shh, I got this." And then we wind up in all kind of trouble.
Right.
"Mama, I'm locked up. I need $1,500 to post bail." But if we would have listened to that voice that's on the inside of us, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Right.
He said, that voice, we must protect it. For in our moral awakening, it is the best friend that we have. For it is Allah God working on the inside of us. The more we feed on the truth and right guidance from Allah God, the stronger the voice becomes. That inner voice is like a seed, which can ultimately grow into its perfected state, to be the mind of God Himself in you. This is where the difficulty comes in, because we have a tendency to lie to ourselves.
Listen.
We say, "Oh, that's not too bad," or "he or she means well." Sometimes you have to get rid of dead weight people. Did you catch that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to get rid of dead weight. There are people in your life that mean you no good,
No good.
and they are holding you down. There has to be a parting of the ways if you want to keep your sanity and be made whole again. If your marriage is on the rocks, look at it and evaluate it. See what it is that you did to contribute to the problem. We must take responsibility for the way our life is. No one made our life the way it is but us. Now look. Until we take responsibility, we can't actually correct the problem. Anyone that is not your husband or your wife, get them out of your marriage.
That's that third person.
I gotta tell you, man. This is when I was a baby. But my mom told me this story. Her and my father got into an argument, as all married couples do. They got into it, she left. So she went home, supposedly home, to her mother. We call it the country, out there in Gramercy, Louisiana, right? That's where I'm from, my people from. So she go off, leave here, because we in New Orleans. She leave here, go to Gramercy. Because she upset with my dad. She get to the house, and my grandmother like, peeping, looking behind her, looking for my dad. What you doing here? Oh, I left him. He this, he that, we got into it, so I left him. My mom said, my grandmother said, you better get back in that car and go home. We don't do that around here. She said, you need to go and you need to bring me into your marriage. Now your husband gonna be looking at me strange.
Oh my God, somebody kill him.
See? So we're in these marriages, we're having problems, and then we go to other people outside of our marriages to help us with our husband or our wife. And a lot of times we go to other single people. Let me leave that alone. That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
But get them people out of your relationship, man. Sit down with your significant other and work it out. Communicate. All right. If you both, once you sit down with each other, if you both desire to keep the relationship going, then seek counsel from someone who is qualified to counsel you in your marriage. And then you can work on recreating your marriage. We should get a piece of paper and write down the things that you like and all the things that you don't like about your life right now. Seek to maintain and make better the things you like and change the things that you don't like. You have the ability to make your life into what you want it to be. You are made in the image and the likeness of God. So you have the same potential as God himself. Now, I'm going to read this like one paragraph, and I want to show you the power that you possess. Down Mr. Louis Farrakhan in the study guides, this is called The Will of God, Part 1. He writes, everything in creation is the manifestation of the will of God. All of creation expresses the attributes or characteristics of this mighty being, the originator of the heavens and the earth. But the will of God is the power behind the throne. The will of God is the power, its creation, its maintenance, and its sustenance. The Holy Quran constantly reminds us that Allah's command is just be, and it is. But this is not some spooky term such as abracadabra or open sesame. When Allah God says be, he summons the power of his own being, his creative mind and will to bring about that which he wills. When Allah says be, this is an expression of his will. But it is more than just an expression of his will. For when he says be, he arranges forces, resources, angels, and people according to a plan to bring about the fruition of his will. What a wonderful thing that Almighty God Allah chooses to share this power with humanity. Think of that, brothers and sisters. Almighty God Allah, who has created everything by his will, shares his power with you and me. So today, we have the ability to will. We have the ability to plan, to organize, and to bring into fruition our plans. We too can say be. Go to work, and it is. So we don't have time to wallow around in the mud, feeling sorry for ourselves. Get up and dust yourself off. Rise, pick up your bed, and walk. Make your life what you want it to be. You must envision what you want in order to know where you are and how to get there. Your wounds can be healed, and you can be made whole again. And by you and I being made whole again, we can become better servants of God, reflections of God, so that when we go before our people, we can now relate to them, they can relate to us, we can show empathy towards them and their situation. We won't look down on them because they are poor, they're in the mud, they don't have, there's a lack of this and a lack of that.
Right.
Because we have been there.
Come on.
But we can also be an example of how to come up out of this situation.
Yes.
So the nation of Islam, you don't just accept a religion. Did you catch that? See, everybody else is in a religion.
Come on.
Right.
When we accept the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we accept a mission.
Yes, sir.
Master Fard Muhammad attached a mission
Come on with it.
to the religion of Islam.
Yes.
So we can come in, we can read and study and get all the benefits of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us and is teaching to us, and we can do better, come up out of our condition, have money, do this, that, and the other. But if we are not going after our people in the same way, then we have not yet accepted the mission. So we now have to heal the wounds that have afflicted and are afflicting us in order that we can be better servants and better reflections of God Himself.
Yes,
So I thank you, family, for allowing me to come before you. So I hope we got something out of what was said today, and that we will really think on it, ponder it, and then just start to work on ourselves.
Yes, sir.
You know, so I know there wasn't no rah teach, but hopefully it got us to think,
Got our attention.
got our attention.
Yeah,
Right? So
absolutely.
hopefully it caused us to think,
Yes, sir.
and this is a place that we cause people to think,
Yes, sir.
not just emotionally based.
That's right.
If we can do that, we start talking about the white people. Everybody in here be
Tear the
jumping
room
up,
up.
jumping up, and yes, right, teach hard, brother, teach on the devil. And that's all good, man.
Yeah.
You know,
It
but
is.
what about that devil up in here? Let's hit that one. Then it start getting quiet. See? Because the person we don't want to look at is right here.
That's right. You can't pin right.
See, when we deal and we conquer the devil on the inside of us, no devil on the outside of us can do us anything.
Yes.
Why are we worried about white people?
Come on.
For what? That Elijah Muhammad said, if you listen to what I teach you, I will have you so smart
That you want.
that you will have the white man wrapped around your little finger and you wouldn't even know he was there unless you looked.
Come on. So I'm
So
talking
why
about.
are we exerting all of this energy on white people? We need to be exerting that energy on ourselves,
Yes.
man. And that's how we do this thing. So, at this time, family, this is our acceptance portion of our meeting.